Hi guys, thank you all for joining today. Let's wait till we have people adding to this conversation because today it's going to be myself and Preeta Agarwal, who is the jewelry writer, the expert in jewelry, talking about how to survive these tough times and how to actually take advantage of being at home, and we need to use our creativity and not let this crazy virus bring us down, right? In the jewelry industry, we're all in this together. So let me invite Preeta to join. Now, I'll just tell you in a few words how this conversation is going to go because, hello, Preeta.
Hello.
Wonderful. So Paris versus New Delhi.
New Delhi. Yay.
Wonderful. Okay, great. We're all on lockdown, enjoying our time at home.
Yes.
I was just saying about the way we're going to structure the conversation because I think what will happen is we will share our ideas. It's literally like a chat about how we can take advantage of this time and what jewelers and jewelry brands and designers can do. And also, I think we'll allocate a little bit of time for questions as well at the end. So, but also if people ask questions during the conversation, we'll try to accommodate everyone, right?
As much as possible.
Exactly. Cool. I'll let you introduce yourself. I already said a few words, but do say a few words about yourself as well, about your experience in jewelry.
Well, I am based in New Delhi, India, and I work as a jewelry specialist. I also work as a jewelry journalist and a blogger. I've been writing and working in this industry for more than 14 years now. So all in all, it's been a fantastic journey. I started out as a designer, but today I'm doing a lot more things than just design. But I'm in love with jewelry. So I think it encompasses everything.
Yeah.
Just love with jewelry.
But I guess, our love expands much further, and what used to be passion is not our profession. And we can also advise brands on certain strategies, on their planning for the future, and that's what hopefully we'll do today. And I guess most things we say, brands would also say, oh, we thought about it ourselves, but it's great to give a reminder, right?
Yeah. And I think it's all this together both of us have such a great experience. If we club it, it's more than like 30 years of experience in one Instagram live. So that's going to be really handy for anybody who needs advice, who needs consultation. It's a lot of knowledge.
And guys, also just to let you know, I will keep this video for a day in my stories. So if some of you couldn't join in, or you want your friends to see, some designers or jewelers who can really benefit from this conversation and this discussion, you'll be able to send it to them. So I think what we'll start with is our kind of predictions, right? What we think is to happen, after or let's say influenced by the whole situation which we're experiencing right now. So I think for me personally, I've listed my 3 predictions. And guys, while you listen to this, please say if you agree or not with what we say. That would be interesting for us to see. But I believe that in terms of jewelry world, after the, let's call it a crisis, after the whole situation with the virus is over, it doesn't mean that people are going to suddenly stop buying jewelry, or they will definitely not invest any money in it. But I feel that there's 2 segments which will strive more than anything else. And I would highlight affordable luxury, because don't we all want to treat ourselves to something nice and that will make us feel normal in a way, right? That the life goes on. And the jewelry investment grades, big stones, important jewels, will also carry on doing well in a few months. So I think brands need to consider that and prepare something spectacular.
Yeah, and I think it's rather than forecast, I would say that current scenario will, right now everybody is enjoying the holiday, everybody's kind of happy, they're getting time for family, but eventually it might get into depression, might get into frustration. There will be phases in everybody's life. So don't let those come your way. Use these ideas that we are giving to kind of keep yourself busy, because boredom will get into depression, will get into frustration, and that is not a good sign. So getting out of that will become much more difficult. Keep yourself busy, do something or the other, but don't just leave it. stay in
And
touch with the industry.
exactly. And I think, as much as it might be disadvantage as well to be stuck in our homes or restricted in what we can do right now, we have to keep positive and take the most of the current situation. And I think this is the right time to actually sit down and prepare this planning and be laser focused on your strategy. And not just the strategy, but also in the designs, right? Because right now, I'm sure lots of designers might be at home sketching. The important things to keep in mind is not to try to please all the clients who might walk through the door or get to your website or social media. From my experience, okay, I've been in jewelry for what, 12 or 13 years now, I can't even remember. But when a jeweler doesn't try to create designs which are fit for everybody, when they really try to express themselves through their jewelry, when they have their DNA, their unique presentation of jewelry, unique design, that's when they get maybe not as many customers, but the right ones who definitely like the designs, who will definitely come back and bring their friends. So for me, it's all about laser focus in design right now, laser focus in your social media strategy, in your event planning for the future, and everything you do. So it's time to sit and think and action after.
Yeah. So let's start with all the topics.
Yes.
Okay. So the idea is to tell you things, what you can do.
I forgot one thing. Hold on.
What?
One thing I forgot to say, which I wanted to say, is also, coming back to the idea to stay positive, that right now we need to think how we can come out of the whole situation and come out as better versions of ourselves. So if you're a brand of a design or a jewelry designer, think strategically what you can offer very special, very different, very unique to your client when they're ready to spend. Think of those 6 months after when, we're a little bit more positive mood, prepare wow jewelry so that they can't resist it, okay? Because jewelry is also an emotional purchase. And if you fall in love with the piece of jewelry, it doesn't matter what you've been through. You want to get that positive energy from the piece that you're looking at, what you want to buy. So yeah, prepare something wow for the future. Yeah. Anyway, going back to what you were saying, sorry.
No. So I was saying that I had written this whole article about 12 ways of keeping yourself busy through COVID-19 lockdown, and the entire world is under lockdown. But these are some of the ideas that we've come up with, which will help you keep busy and yet make your business stronger from inside. You will prepare while you're busy under lockdown. And these are simple ideas which you can use whenever, however, as per your convenience. So while we begin, the first is create new design ideas. One of the thing is that you can play with your gemstones. Most of the jewelers have an existing stock of gemstones. Why don't you just sit with them, play with them, make unusual combinations? It could be size, shape, color, anything. Just start juxtaposing them together, and I'm sure some wonderful ideas will start coming. Let your mind become like a child.
And maybe it's the right time. Sorry, I'm putting my 5 pennies in. I think it's the right time to think about using gemstones which are colored gems, and they're being more and more popular, like Paraiba tourmalines. Within 5 years they're really ballooned in popularity. Right, spinels. Think of colored gemstones which weren't popular before but which are popular now, and then you can build a new interesting jewel in your collection.
And juxtapose two very strange gemstones together and see what it looks like. Something which can be an emerald, which is like a rich, nice, juicy emerald with a turquoise or a opaque gemstone. Opaque gemstones are really in fashion. So why don't you kind of juxtapose to something very random things and see what it looks like? This is the time when you have time on hand to kind of see what the combination comes out to be. Next is that we can also look around our lives and think of unheard, unused inspirations, which are like you always, all jewelry designers kind of just go on to. First thing is flowers. Why flowers? There are so many things around us in our lives that we can use as inspirations. For example, the Cartier took the cactus. They left the flower and they took the cactus, right? They took the nail. Van Cleef and Arpels took a story of Noah's Ark. Bulgari took the entire cinema as an example, So why don't you look at things around your house? There are collections which have come out of buttons. There are collections which have come out of laces. They've come out of neon materials. think of unheard and unused inspirations, and you can actually create something like Katrina said, that you can create a wow experience for your clients. And another thing is that you can create pieces which are from sustainable materials, because from now on, everything will have to be about storytelling. We will have to talk about why, what we are using, why we are using, how we are making it. So those are the things that you need to think and incorporate that into your story, into your collection. And this is the time that you can explore about these kind of materials, read about these kind of stories, research on them, and everything kind of makes sense, because after these things are going to move towards sustainable a lot more than before COVID-19.
It would be interesting to see actually if like amulets or designs based on some sort of protective property will really go up in fashion or demand.
I think everybody is a little scared inside. Everybody wants a little more protection. So I think those are the kind of inspirations that will come out a lot more.
I think it's also great to review the collections and to review the structure of them and really come up with like show pieces. I understand now it's the time when you probably don't have much budget to splash out on new designs, but it's a good idea to have that one amazing piece of jewelry which the media will go crazy for, which bloggers like us will go crazy for. And
absolutely.
Right, that will really help with the strategy. And as you told me, like when we discussed, you said it's going to help to jump the competition. I love that, because when you really go out there, the statement designs.
It is going to cut the competition, because suddenly a lot of more media attention, a lot more eyeballs towards you and your brand. They might not be buying the statement show-off piece, but they will, at least there you will have a more footfall. You'll have more eyeballs towards your brand. And people, if they like what they see, they'll buy things which are more wearable, which are more affordable, which are more practical in approach. But this one-off piece can kind of attract a lot more people.
Exactly. Also, I think what could be great is thinking outside the box, right? Because I've noticed that jewelers will try to come up not just with jewelry, but jewelry objects too, which can appeal to a different audience or be a great add-on sale even. Things like, we both saw Messica and the Mask, right? Which was a very cool piece.
Oh, love
right? It's not a piece of jewelry, but it's a showpiece. And of course, it got lots of media attention, bloggers' attention, and the whole Instagram balloon, burst with all the attention. But also things like, I don't know, Beta Embellish did AirPod little jewels for the AirPods, which was cool as well. So it's all about really going crazy here and offering something which you probably wouldn't do in a normal situation. But right now it's not the time for normal. I think
nothing is normal.
Exactly. And I think multifunctional designs, right? Well, as a woman who adores jewelry and wears a lot of it, I like it when jewelry transforms and I can buy one piece but get a few types of wear out of it. So that would be a good idea.
Our dear friend Alessio Boschi does that. He does, like,
you get 10 pieces with him out of one.
Everything turns into something else. He is like a master at that.
Exactly. And also, what I feel helps the designer to sell more is when their collections are not completely different from each other, when you can see this DNA, but they have some similarities, which allows clients to really mix and match. You really don't want to have a situation when a client comes back to you because they love your designs, but all things are completely different. They don't know what to buy next, or they can't buy anything else from you because they're too different. So I think when designers think of the next collection, they can keep this in mind as well, how the client will mix the previous pieces with the current ones and the future ones.
Yeah, I think the whole brand should have a DNA. The whole collection, every collection should at least go back to the main ideology, the main DNA of the brand. Yeah.
And also,
I think one good, one good example of that is Amrapali, because they're doing silver, they're doing gold, they're doing precious, and they're also international. So all their inventory, it caters to a very, very wide variety of audience. Yet you see a piece and you say, yes, that's Amrapali. So, you know, it's a beautiful example, right from silver to extremely high-end pieces, high jewelry, everything still says Amrapali. They might be
Yeah.
different designs. So that's a beautiful example.
And I think both of us agree that maybe it's the right time to broaden your horizons and think of collaborations, and not necessarily jewelry with the jeweler, but collaborations like I remember the great result from when Piaget collaborated with Nelly Saunier, who is the feather marquetry
Oh, yeah.
artist.
Absolutely.
And that was a really cool collaboration, which wasn't expected, but it had a good effect on everyone. So
Absolutely.
yeah, think of people who you can team up and do something together, and also in terms of sales.
Kind of artists, all kinds of artists. There's so many artists in the world who do unique crafts, and those craft can incorporate with our jewelry, and it can together be a wonderful team.
Exactly. You know, I see some people here who didn't see the announcement about this talk, and they're asking what we're chatting about. We're actually talking about how brands can survive these hard times with the coronavirus, and how to actually come out better. So maybe I shall type it here and pin it. Meanwhile, we're gonna get to our next topic, or next bit, which we think will help.
The next is that we need to strategize for the later half of this year. We all know that by the time we all come out of this, it will be May, it could be June. Nobody knows how much time it will take for everybody to come out of this great crisis. But while we are here stuck, we can plan for the second half. And second half of the year is always the more busy time across the globe, jewelry wise, because those are the festive seasons, those are the Christmas season, those are the Valentine's. So everything, Valentine's is like the next year, but we do plan in the second half of this year in order to kind of cater to the Valentine's customer. The idea is to regroup your old merchandise. You have a lot of merchandise with you currently, which is not going off the shelf. Why don't you regroup them? See how you can make combinations, take photos, maybe you can regroup them so that you can display them later together. Maybe a necklace which goes earlier was with a bigger neck earring, you want to pair it with a smaller ear stud, kind of mix and match and regroup them for later on as display. You can also identify your inventory, which is dead inventory, which is 3 years and older, and hasn't moved off the shelf. Why don't you remodel it, remake it? There are so many jewelers who do that. They take a lot of old pieces and they club them together to make a bigger, nicer piece, or they take parts of it. You might have sold the necklace, but your earring is left, and now it's not moving because it's individually, it's not a wow piece. It was a wow piece with the necklace. You might have made 5 bracelets and only one of them is left, and now you don't have a collection of it to display. So put all these things together. Maybe you can make a story of them. Maybe you can mix and match. Maybe you can break them and you use parts of it. And you have put in a lot of money. Someone has put in a lot of time and effort to make it, to manufacture that piece. Let's not just melt it. That's a big loss of melting. Let's make things together from these 4-5 things. And I've even posted on my Instagram earlier that Amrapali does this. They take a lot of pieces and then they make big chunky necklaces out of it. They'll have tassel earrings hanging and it will be a beautiful necklace.
You know, there's already comments of people saying since lockdown they can't access inventory. But I think the key thing is not to think of this just this coming 3, 4, 5 weeks. If you don't access your inventory, go and design new things. But keep in mind what we've advised, because you can come back to it later, right?
You might even have photographs of them on your phone. You might have photographs of your inventory. Most people have photographs of all their inventory on phone. Some designers do operate out of their own home, own little workshop, which is accessible even nowadays. So these are suggestions for all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So,
and I think like
people work with photographs.
Like you're talking about inventory, which is jewelry. Since I'm more focused on, say, social media, for me it's review, re-strategize your social media
why not?
and the content which you have, which you've created. We'll talk a little bit about further on, but I think you know, it's time to re-strategize a lot of things in the business. So
yeah, absolutely. And while you're remodeling, make it in a way that again creates that wow effect. It shouldn't go back to being the usual jewelry. If you're putting in so much effort, make sure it's wow. Make sure it has a USP. It has a story. All that remodeling can also be turned into a story. So why not?
Exactly. Going further.
Okay. Further, we have that you also need an event planner for this year as well as next year. And
Regardless
this
the
is
events being cancelled for the moment. It's not forever.
which is getting cancelled every day. Every day we hear news, so and so show has been cancelled, so and so show has been cancelled or postponed, a new dates being announced. And imagine the second half of this year is going to be in chaos because the existing jewelry shows, which were going to happen, regardless they were B2B or B2C shows, they will still happen. As well as the ones which have been postponed from the first half of the year, they will also happen. So there will be a lot of overlaps of dates, of venues, of cities, of countries, and you would not know what to do. So it's good time right now you make a list and you prioritize which are the shows you want to participate, which are the shows you want to visit, which are the shows you can leave. So it is a good idea to have an events planner in place till at least a year from now, because this I think will take at least a year and a half. By 2021 end is when all these events will start falling back into place on the calendar. So.
And also, you know, you were talking from the like exhibition point of view, but also if I'm a jewelry designer, a brand who focus on seeing clients in my store, it's time now to also come up with different scenarios for the little events for clients. And you know, with the retail changing, and with the social distancing now as well, it's a great idea to come up with a variety of events where you can invite I don't know, 7, 10, 15 maybe max of your top clients and do something special with them. Personally, I see it as a big advantage when you have only a few of your clients together, because you can give them more personalized approach. You can secure more sales through this personalized approach, and then give them the experience, right? Because nowadays clients events, it's not about coming to a shop and getting discounts and I don't know, champagne and canapes. That was 15 years ago when I was in retail. Right now it's all about the experience. A client, if they want to make time to come to you and to spend time at your place and potentially buy something, they want to understand what else are they getting in return apart from jewelry, right, which they're paying for. So it's experience, it's little workshops, it's maybe a presentation from, I don't know, it can be a joint event with a fashion designer or someone from a different industry. So make them feel like they went to an enjoyable event that was valuable for their time.
Yeah, and also according to the clients, you know, for B2B, that your clients can be a retailer, for B2C, your client can be an end consumer. But I'm sure you won't want to list down the names of your clients who you want to meet immediately, which are short term. So right now you've missed out on a lot of business. And these are the names that were expected to come, were expected to buy and do their shopping, and you've missed out. So those are the names you would want to immediately reach out to once we come out of this global lockdown. And one would be a list which we always forget to make, which we don't ever get a time, which is your desire list, like which is your wish list. These are the people I always want to work with. So this is the right time you sit and think of brands which are your ideal customers, which are your eventual aim that, okay, I want to one day sell to this XYZ client. And those are the names that you can jot down in a list. And once you're out of this, you can start working on it one by one, that, you know, okay, let's start approaching so and so, and then so and so, and then so and so. And there you have. It will help you in a long run.
I think also, while you were talking, I was also thinking about the client events, and I think it will be a good time for brands also to consider that their best clients are, in a way, their ambassadors. Maybe it's a good idea to do an event where your best client, who you have a very good relationship with, can invite a couple of their friends, or they can create an event for you, inviting their friends, and you bring the jewels and the entertainment. You know, so it's all about thinking outside the box and doing those small events on a smaller scale, but maybe more often. And also in
they're
terms
more
of
personalized. I think the approach of smaller events is fantastic, because it's more personalized. You can spend time with your client, you can talk to them, you can get to know them better. It will also help in your customer relationship management, which is CRM. You should know a lot more about them, and then you can start showing them the jewelry that you think they would like, their likes, their dislikes.
Exactly. And now there were quite a few questions here about social media strategy and all that. That's my favorite subject. I think the main thing right now and for the future is not to feel like, okay, the virus has hit, the world is in a disaster, we have to stay quiet and wait out. It doesn't apply for social media. Honestly, I haven't seen any changes in terms of figures, how many people visit my page at all. There hasn't been less response. On the contrary, I had so many DMs, direct messages saying, oh, you know, thank you for doing this work, because you help us to keep saying, you know, to feel like everything is normal. And it's the same for people who follow brands and jewelers on Instagram. They want to feel that their brand is doing well, that everything is fine. They carry on updating. If they find something now they like, it doesn't mean they're going to buy right away. Yes, maybe the mood is not there, but it will be on the back of their mind, and they might very likely come back to you with the desire to purchase in a few months' time when they're ready financially and emotionally. So I think it's important to carry on.
People would suddenly want to purchase something nice for themselves. Like after so much of lockdown, depression, sadness, people would want to buy things which make them happy. So they would be on a lookout. There will be emotional purchases. There will be missed birthdays. There will be missed anniversaries. There will be missed celebrations in the family, which will require some shopping. Even for your own self. Like I think I would go out and buy something nice for myself the day I'm getting out.
Yeah, when it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I am going to go and splurge, because right now everybody is also saving up money to kind of battle this through. People are not, the shops are closed, you can't go shop, but I think I'm gonna go shopping.
There you go.
Just for a feel good factor.
But you know, coming back to the social media strategy, as we were talking about inventory and planning and everything else, it's a good time to sit down, review your Instagram strategy in terms of how often do you post, what do you post, do you really think through every post, do you have a calendar, do you have media calendar of your upcoming Instagram posts, do you do stories, how often do you do it? There are so many factors to take into consideration to make sure that Instagram really works and gives you results. And what I find, because I also consult brands on their social media strategy, and this is something I've been doing behind the scenes, but actually now it's time to announce that it's part of my services because I have more time to do it now. So what happens is you have to see the strengths and the weaknesses of your Instagram to see how you can possibly maybe restructure it, come up with new ideas how to show jewelry, because jewelry, Instagram is not an online catalog. You know, if you just post white background or whatever pictures of your jewelry to bombard your followers with, oh, I have this and I have that and I have that, they have no reason to follow you because it's like a catalog. They can go on your website and see what they want. The idea here on Instagram is to show the history of a brand, the story, the identity, what makes it different from everyone else. And you can really show it through images as well. So it's a good time to plan creative editorial photography, to think, are you incorporating your company colors and your company DNA into your social media or on your Instagram, to your Facebook, how you can improve. Now it's also a good time to think, how can you create enough content for the future? You know, how you can plan it all through applications. Like I keep on talking about this app, which I love. It's called Icona Square. And that's an app which helps you to schedule everything, to have good analytics, much deeper analytics that you have on your Instagram, like the standard analytics. It helps you also to see what your competitor is doing, how well they're doing. That's also important to keep in mind. Now you can have time to spy a little bit on what's out there, right? So there's a lot to think about, but as I said, the main thing is not to suddenly go low and go quiet, because also Instagram, it's a tool that calculates everything on algorithm. it doesn't know that there is corona there, but if they see that your activity has reduced for any reason, you will get penalized. So yeah, it's important not to slow down.
Okay, I have a question for you. So there are two things right now. One is that Instagram is super active these days because everybody has a lot more time. People are spending a lot more time on Instagram, on Netflix, and blah blah. But at the same time, there is also this deep sense of sadness around us. And we wouldn't. I have had clients of mine asking me, "Do you think we should post jewelry? Do you think we should post pretty pictures?" People are sad. People are sharing news of the people dying, and here we are posting pretty pictures of jewelry, which is not the need of the hour. So there's a clash. Their audience is spending more time on Instagram, but emotionally and ethically, they don't want to post a lot more images of jewelry, which is not necessary. So what do you advise him?
Well, as I said, honestly, for me personally, right, I prefer to see the content which I used to see before, as you say, to make me feel normal, like nothing's changed, right? Because psychologically, it has been a very big change and very drastic change. And of course, you know, emotionally, we have to keep balanced. And if I see that the brands which I like, they keep on, as I said, updating their feed and going as normal, it makes me feel normal as well, in a way.
Well, there you go. Okay, so let's move ahead.
Also, sorry, before we move forward, one important thing also to think right now and do some research is on how you can increase your sales on Instagram, how you can change your approach to Instagram, what applications you can use, because you can use certain apps to increase sales. You can link your online boutique with your Instagram to be selling directly from Instagram. So there is lots of things which you can implement, and those are the things which we'll talk about. I think we should do a webinar, okay? How to sell jewelry on Instagram. Guys, if you feel that this is a webinar you want to tune into in a couple of weeks, put it in comments, right? Because I think it's something we should consider.
Let's tell, this can be a whole new separate topic to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why not? Also, along with social media, I think people should also go back and look at all their digital presence. Social media is one, but there is a website. There are people who have apps. So why don't you spend more time on your website and apps right now? Just go there as a client would go and see every page, read every page. I'm sure there are things which are outdated. There are things which you would want to change. There are achievements you would want to add. There are new collections which you've not got time to add on your website. You can do all that backlog, finish all that backlog right now. So also update your, the content about your brand. The language can change. Do a little banner about how you're coping up with this scenario. So you can upgrade your website and apps also during this time. And along with your social media, I think it's time to upgrade or revisit all your brand collaterals, because everyone has a company logo, there's a brand DNA, there are lookbooks, there are collection catalogs, there is a brand person and a spokesperson profile that goes out to the media, or the about us section that goes out on your websites. So this is the time where you revisit all of them and kind of start thinking that, do you want to upgrade, do you want to change, do you want to completely revamp it, how you want to kind of move ahead with times. So you might find things which are like, okay, they have been done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and this is the time that you can spend on looking at them and thinking, okay, how I can upgrade, what is my competition doing in the brand collaterals, and where am I and what everyone else is doing. Maybe you find places which are not as per the current scenario, and you can kind of upgrade them. There are things like packaging, stationery, gifting, your display stand. There are so many things that a brand has in totality. So this is the time that you can sit and reassess all of them and see what kind of needs attention.
But also, it's time to rethink the expenditure which you have on your business, right? For example, I often face that brands who I have a natural conversation with, in the end it comes out, they spend a lot of money for manufacturing, say in with such and such manufacturer, okay, say an Italian one or someone in Paris. And of course, we understand that it depends on the type of jewelry. If it's an everyday piece, maybe it would be wiser to find a very high quality manufacturer in Hong Kong or Thailand. And believe me, there are people there who produce really high quality. If someone needs any advice, you know, they can send a direct message
Thailand is
production.
Big. Thailand is really big on
Exactly.
manufacturing.
Exactly.
There are so many European brands who have actually shifted their base to Thailand because the manufacturing is one good, and secondly, it's much cheaper. So the cost of their product comes out to be much less, and their expenses are less. And it's a developing country. Why not?
And I think it's also, I'm sure you also thought about it for your own businesses, how to become more efficient. Obviously, it's something we think about all the time, but right now is a high time for that, and even efficient with our time, right? I just wanted to share one tool which I use and I absolutely love it. So one I was talking about is the Icon Square for social media, because it really helps to reduce the time spent on preparing your social media posts. I face a lot that brands say, oh, but you know, we don't want to spend so much time, you know, we really struggle with that. And in Icon Square, you have your hashtags pre-populated, you have a lot of things to help you, okay? But also what I use on a daily basis, it's an online project planning tool. It's called monday.com. Guys, by the way, this is not an ad.
Katerina introduced this to me also. I am also now working everything on monday.com.
Yeah, it's not an affiliate program or anything. I'm just sharing what really works, and it really made my life easier. Monday.com. It's basically, it's like spreadsheets, which are super easy to navigate and to change and everything. And the best thing is that all the team members can see everything being changed simultaneously, and they can make their changes, and you see live updates. So it just saves so much time for me and my team to communicate and to say, okay, this needs to be doing, this is done. We just mark everything in our spreadsheet, and without extra words, everyone knows what they're doing. So, and there's lots of different possibilities that I haven't explored it fully, but if someone wants to increase the efficiency, go to monday.com. Super easy like that.
Yeah, so you can have like different boards for your design team, for your manufacturing, for your retail team. Everybody can have different boards. It's like how everybody these days is working through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like everybody has these groups on WhatsApp. My design team has one WhatsApp, my manufacturing has. So everybody works on WhatsApp. This is a much better tool because here you can mark so-and-so thing done, so-and-so thing pending. This is the deadline. These are the event date. So you don't need to ask frequently. Everything is there, fed into a whole algorithm. Yeah.
It's all about automating as many things as possible right now.
Saving time.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is what we were saying, that we need to study our competition. We need to study other brands. We need to also study a few brands that we idolize. And having said that, I would really want to stress here is that, yes, you study them. You understand what they're doing, how they came to that level that you start idolizing them, how they reached this far, what has been their journey, what has been their story. But the most important factor is that you get inspired, but don't copy. So, you know, you look at them, you get inspired, but please do not copy when you're trying to look at your competition or your other brand or your idol. Please don't do that. Plagiarism and inspiration and taking reference are two very different things.
Yeah, I think it applies to everything, including social media.
Yeah, social media is a big tool which has its pros and cons, and everybody, while we all love social media, but it also is affecting a lot of people because there are people who just rip apart image, just take screenshots and say this is my design, or they just copy and make a whole new product as similar as somebody else, and they think this is their formula to success. But it is a very short-term success. You might be able to sell 1 piece, 2 piece, 10 pieces, but it is not a long-term success.
I think maybe it's the right time to remind people that social media strategy and creating content for jewelry pages is also something which we do regularly behind the scenes, but this is also our expertise because we've studied so many things about Instagram. We do it on a daily basis. So if some brands here or designers who really struggle with strategy, with creating content, with thinking how to make your content varied, you know, how to create a storyline through your Instagram feed.
With photo shoots.
Exactly. So do send us a message.
Yeah, I'm here in India and she's there in Europe. So together we do a lot of social media content for a lot of brands. And it's a good time that you can connect with us and try and we can see how we can do things about for your brand.
Exactly. Alrighty. So
Next up is this is also a good time to upgrade your knowledge and research because we are all sitting at home. So rather than sitting on Netflix, I think it's time that we move to the internet. And there are a lot of online courses which are available for jewelers from design to history to not manufacturing, but techniques of manufacturing, what the world is doing. There are so many new techniques that you might not be using, and so you can research about them. You can join online courses. There is one which is on business and entrepreneurship by on Anna Wintour. There
yeah,
is
that's a good
one
one.
that's a really good one. It's a masterclass by Anna Wintour, who's the editor of Vogue US. And there is one on by Joanna Hardy. She's a jewelry historian. So she will talk about history and antiques and take you through that. And there is one with Christie's, which is again an online course. So all the links are there on my website. I have also published all these points in a blog on my website, preetaagarwal.com. And there you will find a whole list of all these points that we're talking right now. And under the knowledge upgrade and research, you will find links to all these courses and online courses and research websites that I've mentioned. So the links are there, or you can directly DM me and ask me. I can send you the links.
But
So research.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so research is good right now. You can also research about your future as well as history of jewelry design. You know, you can go back onto the trends that you can now get back in fashion, or you can go into the future and see forecast what will be in fashion. So you can go on either sides of the brand.
You know, talking about knowledge, I wanted to share a couple of things which I use for keeping up to date with trends or maybe even inspirations in a way, because I don't design jewelry, but for me, sometimes I feel like exploring some new theme and writing. I wanted to show you a book, which I don't have the current version because moving from London to Paris, I don't know, it disappeared on the way, but I'll show you the old version. It's a trend book from Paolo De Luca.
Oh,
there is a new one out, which you can buy online. And that's a book about different design trends. I think it's a really great publication for designers.
It's a brilliant book that she brings out every year. It's brilliant.
Sorry, this is as I said, this is the old version, but the layout is similar. You know, there's all sorts of different key trends and different examples of those trends. And I think for a designer who wants to stay up to date, is brilliant. And my other favorite one is the collections of fashion. And believe it or not, since the last, say, 5 years, fashion and jewelry are so intertwined now. And it doesn't mean that going through the collections of big designers in fashion, you have to kind of take inspiration from the type of jewelry they create, but you can take inspiration from the kind of colors they put together in their clothing, in terms of patterns, in terms of how saturated those colors are, because you have to remember that your clients, they're going to wear this jewelry with the fashion, and especially for your important clients who wear this kind of things on a daily basis, you know, designer you know, clothing and bags, they will keep in mind, how do I put this clothing together with my jewels, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I love this publication.
Why don't you? I think after this, you should put screenshots of
just
photographs and put them on your stories.
Yeah, I'll share.
I would want to. I like the Vogue one. I have the other one.
I think after this talk, first of all, I'm gonna save it so people can watch it again for one day. Yeah. Potentially, I'll try. Maybe I'll upload it on my IGTV. I can't promise, but we'll see. And also, I'll share some stories with the books I'm showing now. And also, we can't answer all the questions. I wish I could, but the ones we can't answer right now, I think we'll do stories on both Preeta account, which is Preeta Agarwal, and mine as well. So you can all not feel like you're missing out on information here.
Yeah. Next is that this is the time that we understand our clients better. We also stressed upon it a few minutes back, but there are softwares which help you understand customer relationship management. There are CRM softwares that you can research about and implement once we are out of this lockdown. those softwares help you keep all your customer data in one place. There, if you get into detail, right from the basic contacts of phone number, email ID, addresses, yes. But if you get into the detail, they can also help you log in and send you reminders when there's a client birthday, there's an anniversary, you can send them a bouquet of flowers and do little things for your clients. There will be pop-ups. If you get all this data, who likes what is also what you can record. Somebody who just loves earrings, somebody who just loves brooches and always comes back for them. So you can record all this in a good CRM software. And this might be a good time to get all your client data and start assessing. It can also be that you sit with this data and you start seeing how from 2 years ago, 2 festive seasons, how is your customer behaving. You can also study the past data, that how in the 2 years your customer has changed, has the age group changed, has the timing of arrival, like timing of shopping changed. Do they come in the morning? Do you have more customers in the evening? How are your months across the year behaving in customer footfall? So this is the time when you can sit and analyze your past two season data, and then make points and accordingly act on those points in the coming season. That, okay, if I have more people coming in the evening, maybe I can have little munchies in the evenings floating around the showroom. Maybe I can have few sandwiches in the evening. Whatever, you can kind of, it's time to pamper your client. It is really time to pamper. So you can understand all that data and then act upon it and make your notes, and it should be very fruitful.
You're talking about clients in a retail area, right, in the shop, but I'm thinking exactly the same, the study of the client, but online, even on your Instagram, because it does give you the analytics, will help to understand not necessarily which client you target, but which client likes you back, right? Because by seeing what age group, what nationalities, what kind of posts get more likes, you can analyze your Instagram to understand what parts of it, like what designs people like more, and that will also maybe help to eliminate some collections which haven't been doing well, take more inspiration, or you understand what attracts people about another collection which you see being popular even on Instagram, not just in stores, and develop it further. So Instagram is a great tool for analyzing client behavior and looking for new clients as well, because what I know. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I advise brands to do normally at the private consultation is not just to sit and wait for a client to follow you and to start conversation with them and to try and close the sale, but also to go out there in the space of Instagram and look for potential client who you want to be following you. And then you start engaging in a conversation with them. Of course, it can't be, oh, I love your post, oh, you look great. It has to be something meaningful, which will make that person actually pay attention and see, who is this? There is a brand, okay, so why are they commenting and what they're about? So they will be more likely to go and see your Instagram page. And don't make it look like it's a bot who is commenting. As I said, it has to be a meaningful post, but it has to be a recurrent amount of engagement. So maybe go to their profiles, like stalk them for 2 weeks and go to their profile every other day, and then start conversation with them, get to know that person. It's time consuming, that's true. But if the person likes you back, if they take interest in your brand, it's a high chance for not just a follow, but also a sale as well. So you have to really make a lot of efforts. And also, Preeta, I don't know if you can recommend, someone is asking about, that what happens during the lockdown. Someone is asking about CRM programs. Do you know any?
I think,
because honestly, I'm not a specialist on that.
There are a few. I can put it on my stories after this. There are a few softwares which help in CRM, and I'll put it up on my stories.
Okay, perfect. So we have a new team member joining.
Hello.
Okay, so what are you going to say to everyone? You are the specialist on everything we're talking about. Okay, go
no
to
reaction.
Okay, and I think we have just a few points left, no?
Yeah, just one more. One thing I wanted to add, what you were saying was that while you're analyzing your social media audience as well, make sure to analyze that what are the products that sold through Instagram and what are the products that are selling through your retail store. There will be a difference, there could be, and we can try and understand what is selling online. Maybe you can design more collections and promote those online. What kind of collections sell online? And yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted there for a minute.
No worries. I was just saying that you should kind of understand what is selling online more and what is selling offline, and design more collections around what is selling online. Because
sure
the audience
listens, you know.
Everybody listens.
This information is essential to them, really listens. And I think last point, it's the last one, right? We wanted to say, which is not the least, very important, of the hardship of this time, not just for business owners, but also for the employees, right? Because it's not just us who is worried about the future, but also all these people who are loyal to us and who's been working with the businesses for a long time, or even if not a long time, still. It's important to think of your staff, right? And people who work with you. And,
it is. Maybe you can help them, you know, we can help them. Check with them if they need money, food, medicines. This is tough times for everybody. So please do think of your staff. Please do think of your team. If you think of them now, you will get a lifelong loyalty. And there's nothing better than having a loyal staff, a loyal team. Because if your team is happy, your clients are happier. I think that's worldwide true.
Exactly. And plus, you know, I'm sure that this time will pass, you know, let's give it another month. So fingers crossed, in a month or so, it will be finished. So things will go back to normal, and you have to be ready. As we were talking in the beginning, you have to be ready for the better times, which will come soon, hopefully. To really give it a great shot and to wow your clients, and to be able to even, you know, produce the quantity of jewelry which will be expected from you. I'm being super positive, but there's no other way, you know, for me.
There's somebody who's saying, is it possible for you to look at my website? Yes, you can contact us later. You can contact either of us on direct message, and we can surely help you with that. For good CRM softwares, yes, I will get back to everybody with a few softwares. There's one question saying, like we see the current financial market scenario and crisis, the potential security is receding. Jewelry products and products could be an option of investment, which we said that, which Katerina rightly mentioned in the beginning, that yes, we can either create affordable luxury, which everybody can wear, buy, not be so bothered about. They can wear and enjoy those pieces. And the other end of the bracket is creating pieces which are of high value, which are bought for investment, and they are kept and for special occasions, or majorly for investment. So these are the two brackets which will be more selling, either the investment or the affordable luxury, which is more wearable.
I think we can spend a few more minutes on answering questions, 5-10 minutes, and then I'm gonna finish this conversation and upload it to our well, I'm gonna share with you the video so we can both upload it on our Instagram stories.
One more says, how do I market my brand effectively without spending too much in advertising?
Yeah, that's a good one. But I think it's about social media. This is where you can minimize your expenditure. The only expense would be on creating content. But also, I think it's important to think, do you want to hire a person who would do your Instagram or your social media? Because very often brands want to save money, and then not brands, mostly designers, or they don't have a budget, and then they end up not really doing the great job with their social media, and then complaining that it doesn't give them results. But it can't give results because there's no investment. So maybe it's a good time to think about investing in that person who will manage your social media.
Pramiti wants me to do my course on a webinar. Yes, we will do a course on webinar soon. So stay tuned. We will do a lot more webinars.
There was also a question.
Jaipur wants to know some more courses.
You know, there was also a question from one follower asking what kind of jewelry sells on Instagram. And I can tell you that any kind sells. There is a misconception that the big sales don't happen on Instagram. I know the cases when, you know, brands would sell up to 500,000 on Instagram. People do have that kind of money and they do spend it spontaneously like that. The question is, where are those people? For example, on my Instagram, I only show high-end jewelry. So over these years, I've been doing Instagram, I think for 6 or 7 years now. I have built a community of people who understand that this is something expensive and, you know, we can afford that. So it's about showing the type of jewelry you create. Even if it's high end, great. You know, you will have the community of people who can afford it. Yeah, so don't think that online you can't make a big sale. It will happen over time. If you invest enough time, enough money in your content and in posting regularly and in trying to be inventive and different and interesting for people to follow.
It has to be interesting. It has to be interesting in all aspects. Everything needs to spark that interest, that person. I think everybody, I had read it somewhere that a person spends probably 3 seconds or even less than 3 seconds on each page of a magazine and much less on an Instagram post, because it's a fraction of a second that you're swiping. So first your image needs to be very, very attractive that the person stops on the image. Then they read the content around it. Then they go to your page to see who you are, what you're doing. And then, you know, so the image should be so attractive that it catches the attention of the viewer while you're just flicking through your Instagram, you're just swiping up, and it should attract and make you stop.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was a question about print advertising. Are we trying to say that it's dead? I think what we're trying to say that for me personally, I feel that print gives you brand prestige because we all know how hard it is to be featured on the pages of respectable magazines. But in terms of result from those publications, I do not think you will see much, okay, honestly. In terms of prestige, yes, but in terms of return on investment, not so much. My honest opinion. You don't have to, I don't know, Preeta, if you agree with me, but
no, but prestige, yes, I totally agree, because today if you get a story on your brand in a Vogue magazine, then the prestige is much higher. You show it with pride. It is more like a certificate for a few people that, you know, one of the best magazines, fashion magazines in the world, has recommended our product. So they might be running low on their print runs and their subscriptions, but they still are an authority. They still are a valid authority who kind of endorses your product. And that is very important.
There is also a question about Twitter and Snapchat, but I think for jewelry, those two won't. I mean, look, Snapchat is great, and in Middle East, they're crazy about it. I can't really say for sure it's going to work, but I know it's very much used in that region. Twitter doesn't work for jewelry at all because Twitter is more for talking, not seeing. I don't know. I don't even feel Twitter does much impact on jewelry world. But another one which I can recommend to jewelers is Pinterest. Because there's for example, Pinterest is not for social communication, but mostly for driving traffic to your website. Because what happens is when people pin your images to their boards, the link is always there. If someone else repins that image to their board, exposing it to new audience of people, the link will still be connected to your website. So personally, on my experience, I get a lot of traffic to katerinaperez.com through Pinterest. And I feel this is a tool that helps a lot.
Yeah, there's one question who's asking you, should we do more stories or should we do more posts? Which is more engaging?
It should be both, because actually people who follow you in stories are not necessarily the same who follow your feed. And I really see this division between those who watch stories regularly and those who mostly stay in the feed. I don't know, it's funny observation, but for me, this is how it works. I don't know if for you find the same.
I think we have to be active on both, because stories stay for some time, posts stay forever. So there's also a long lastivity difference in both of them. Stories, I feel, how I would say is, stories are more things which can be behind the scenes. What are you doing today? Or you're designing. They are more to the time, more instant. And a post is more thought of. It's more properly put through and then post. on Instagram. So there's a difference in the strategy, what I would say. Do both, but do a different strategy for both. Your stories can be all about behind the scenes, celebrations in your office, in your team, your event, your booth, how it looks like, and all of that. And your post can be your products.
Questions, but we lost all the questions now. So that's a shame. If you don't mind, write a question again so we can answer. So we got a connection problem.
Yeah, I think the connection just dropped. Did you save the chat? Did you save the Instagram live?
Now they say that people can't hear us, I think. Guys, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
I don't know. Actually, I don't think it was issue with our connection. I think it was something with Instagram.
Canceled. It just dropped out. Insta live. But
Maybe
were you able to save it?
Yeah, I've saved it. So at least we have all the previous video, which is great.
Yeah.
But what happened is we lost all the questions now we wanted to answer. So I think what we'll do is we can go back to that video and review the questions and write answers and stories.
Yeah.
What do you think?
One question I remember, which I was reading while it got cut, was Nikita, who was asking that how frequently should we post on Instagram?
So for a brand or for a jewelry, I feel the most optimal one is between maybe 3 and 4 times a week at least, to have because what happens is if you're very slow on Instagram, if you post once a week, then you will get a very slow growth of your audience. The more regular you are, the silly rule is the more often you post, the more followers you get. But it doesn't mean that suddenly you need to start posting like crazy 5 times a day. No, for a brand, because you have very limited amount of content and limited amount of jewelry, 3-4 times a week minimum is a good idea. 5 is a good one. If you can post every other day, then it's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's about it. For any other questions, for any brand consultations,
there was a question also about the new jewelry. Like, shall we post all our novelties on Instagram? Yeah, because
maybe yeah, a little bit, you know. You have to give a sneak peek in what you're creating. Maybe don't expose all your inventory online, but a sneak peek is required. How would people know that you're creating this crazy new line?
Exactly.
What do you say?
I think, you see, one of the biggest questions that brands normally ask me, how can we prevent people from copying us from Instagram? And what you say is the right way. You don't hide completely from the world out there, but you don't show everything. And you also can give more value to what you create by doing not just one post about a new piece, but do a series of posts in the making. This is the jewelry drawing. This is some person, you know, making this piece of jewel. Then the final piece. Then the final piece being worn. Don't think that people are going to be bored of seeing the same content, because those who follow you in the morning is not the same in the evening or in the daytime, and it always changes. So different people see you all the time. Sorry, guys and girls, you know, this is the outcome from this lockdown. Obviously, we have to stay creative.
Yeah.
There you go. Да, мой зайка, красиво, красиво, красиво. So, what else?
Let's see. Are there more questions here?
Is it advisable to share the pictures of our jewelry to the Instagram followers when they send direct message? I don't see why not, because it depends who asking. Also, okay, maybe this is why the person is asking, because you often get a direct message saying, oh, price, how much, and that's it. Even when I get this kind of requests, and I get it very often, I try to take people offline, and that helps me to understand if they're real or not, if they're interested or not. So I ask them to share with me, you know, their WhatsApp, so I can explain everything by WhatsApp, and that also helps to establish how serious they are. If they don't reply or they don't want to share, fine, you know. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, if it's a person who is serious about the purchase, they will allow you to take them offline, and you can share the pictures with them.
Or you can do even a better way is to do a video chat with them, so that they are not able to, they don't save the product. You can just show it on a video chat and not send them a photo. This is what a lot of jewelers have started doing.
That's a
even
good
in
one.
even in your showrooms, if there's a customer or a client who's wanting to take a picture of herself wearing it, and because the reason is they want to show it to their mother or their sister or their friend or family, whoever, the best way is to recommend that you do a video chat right here and show it to whoever you wish to, and that's about it. You can show it like that. You don't need to take a photograph and then send it and keep that photo on record with you. And you can, because what happens is people also get that same piece made from their local jeweler at a much cheaper price. So people go and wear products at good brands and take their pictures, take selfies, and then go and get that same piece made somewhere else. So better way is video chats. This way you can reduce the number of copies.
You know, there is quite a few questions about social media and when to post and all that. I think we won't be getting too much into details. We should do a separate stream about that, about social media strategy, so not to disappoint anyone. And also, while we were talking, I saw quite a few good comments and compliments in our work, and I want to thank everyone for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. No shaking hands, only namaste.
And also, if after this talk you still have questions, please send us direct message. If you want to have another live stream about a subject which is of interest, please send us the ideas what you would like us to talk about. And while everyone is enjoying their time at home, we might as well take advantage of that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if in India, if anywhere anyone needs any consultation, any services, any advice, we would be more than happy to extend our hands. And just, even if anybody wants to just have an advice, if you're more than welcome anytime. So it's better to help. That's why I put across all these points on my blog the other day, saying that, you know, this will be helpful for people while we are under a lockdown. So don't let the times depress you. Be busy, stay creative, and just work.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Preeta, for joining. Thank you guys for watching.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.